We're now at the end of this course in philosophy of education, so it's worth raising the value question. What is the value of a course such as this one in the philosophy of education? We spend a significant amount of time talking through issues in metaphysics, in epistemology, human nature, ethics, and making connections to education. We also plunged into several isms, idealism, behaviorism, existentialism, and the rest. So what's the point of spending time like this in philosophy? Well, my favorite answer to that question is, being someone who does philosophy for a living, is the inherent enjoyment and pleasure and the contribution to our personal growth as individuals of doing philosophy. As human beings, we are intelligent creatures, we are thoughtful creatures, we think about the big picture, we try to incorporate our understanding of the big picture into our personal lives and live the best kind of life that we possibly can. And philosophy is necessarily then part of our big picture understanding of who we are and what we want to get out of our lives. So spending some time doing philosophy and knowing what the range of possibilities is, is something that values us individually as we are pursuing that personal growth. But chances are also good that you're taking this course or a course similar to this one because you're doing college work, and a course in philosophy of education is part of your credentialing toward receiving your degree. And so then that raises the question, within the context of a professional degree in education, what is the value of philosophy education for that? And it may be that you were required to take the course or strongly recommended by your professors that you take a course such as this. And so having taken a course, it's worth stepping back and saying, was the judgment of your college a good judgment that this in fact is a valuable course here? And so what kinds of things make philosophy of education a worthwhile part of professional training for teachers? Well, if we think about ourselves as professionals, here we are teachers, we are educators, or we are teachers to be. What we want to do as professional educators is what anybody who is taking on a professional commitment does, and that is to set the highest possible standards for ourselves as professionals in that field. And here, necessarily, if we are going to be professional, we have to know our field from the inside out. We have to know all of the whats, the hows, the whys, the wherefores, and so forth, just as we hold other professionals in other fields to the highest standards. We will be held accountable, hopefully, to the highest standards, but more importantly, we should ourselves, as individuals, be making the highest professional commitments that we possibly can. And the profession that we have chosen here is the profession of education. And education is an extraordinarily long and complicated process. Now, in that overall thing that we call the education system, we ourselves have specializations within the overall division of labor. We might be kindergarten teachers, or middle school mathematics teachers, or high school literature teachers. And certainly we have to know our particular specialization expertly and become very proficient at it. But also part of our understanding of where we fit in the profession is to see where what we are doing, our particular specialization in the overall big picture. Kindergarten is in part preparation for grade school. Grade school is preparation for middle school. What we do in middle school is to help students prepare for high school. And high school, as the capstone experience of most people's educational process, is a preparation for life. And so what then we can ask of this overall process of education is that we are doing to prepare students for life. And that takes us into philosophical question. What is it to live a full human life? When we, at the end of the education process, put our stamp of approval on the students, we issue them the diploma, and we turn them forth into the real world, and we say, you are on your own. All the best to you. Well, we turn them loose into the real world. What do we take that real world to be that we are sending them off into? What do we want them to be able to do with their lives? What goals do we want them to achieve? What capacities do we think, core capacities, they necessarily have to have developed and to develop to a level of adult proficiency so that they can achieve their goals in the real world? And when we start asking questions like that, of course, that takes us necessarily into philosophy. We want students to be able to do the particular things that make life meaningful and significant, but as human beings, they have to be able to understand their lives in a big picture philosophical way in order to be able to do so well. And that means that we, as professional educators, we have to know all along the way of the process what that big picture end result is that we're trying to have the students work towards, so that we can guide them through the process and then turn them loose in the world.